1,191 individuals are in our ICU. As of yesterday, it represents a 1.4% increase day to day. You saw there was a modest decrease yesterday in ICUs. We're seeing a modest increase today in the number of people in our ICUs. 3,141 individuals currently hospitalized. This is encouraging. We saw a modest decline in the total number of hospitalizations, 0.9%. versus yesterday. Hospitalization numbers, as we've seen, have begun to flatten. The growth has begun to come down, but the growth has been coming down. Now we're seeing, for one of the first days since this pandemic, a modest decrease in hospitalizations. That's good news, but again, I caution everybody, one day's data point does not make a trend. Just had with the President of the United States, the Vice President, Dr. Fauci, and others, with governors all across this country as they began to socialize the guidelines that will be made public later this evening at 6 o'clock East Coast time related to guidelines for a phased reopening of the American economy. I want to extend, just in broad strokes, appreciation for what I heard from the president as it relates to recognizing the differentiation that exists and persists in terms of conditions in counties, not just in states across this nation, and a willingness to recognize and extend that very directly to governors. I don't know what will be said tonight, and I also caution, as I said just in the outset of this briefing, that we haven't yet received the booklet. And so when we do, we'll have a better sense of how it aligns with the protocols, procedures, the processes that we laid out a number of days ago. But based upon the early input, or at least early discussion we had on that phone call, it certainly was in line with what we were hoping to hear. Again, this is something for those, just final point on this, for those that were not part of the federal supports. These are for the larger sector employers, so we are dealing with the gap in that system. Today, just an hour or so ago, I signed a statewide executive order impacting the entire food chain and entire sector that will allow for 2 weeks of supplemental paid sick leave for workers that have been have contracted COVID-19, been exposed to it, or have been exposed to isolation or quarantine orders by local health officials, federal and or state health officials, impacting not just grocery stores, but the sector-wide executive order providing the 2-week supplemental sick leave also extends to delivery services, to those larger fast food chains, as well as agricultural workers, among others. And so